Hello, everyone. Woo, my hand disappears. Um, we are in different places today, so we have different backgrounds. Um, but happy Tuesday, happy whatever day you're watching this. Welcome to SoulSpace Podcast number 98. Woo!
Yes. Woohoo.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. 98 whole episodes with you guys. We hope you've enjoyed them all as much as we have.
Isn't that crazy? That's awesome.
Great.
Yep, awesome. So today we're going to talk about our same theme, renewing, and we're going to talk about renewing your energy today. So, um, fun and something good to do for spring. Although some people feel like summer already, but not
Yeah.
here, not where we are in the tundra.
No, we had 2 days of summer and then
Yeah, we had,
winter came back.
yeah, we had a nice like 90-degree days for a few days, and now we're back to 30s and 40s. I should say 40s and upper 40s. Late high 30s, upper 40s. But
North
anyway,
Dakota is like that.
yeah, that's spring in North Dakota.
Yeah, you
So,
never know what's going to happen.
right.
It's
One
exciting.
thing we aren't consistent at is the weather.
Yep. Don't ask. Nobody knows what it's going to be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we usually do sometimes 4 seasons in a day. So,
Yeah. Like I said, exciting. It's not boring here in North Dakota. People don't know.
no, the weather is never boring here.
Stay on
That's
your toes.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, um, let's talk a little bit about renewing your energy. And, sometimes you just need a little spruce up for your energy. If you've had, like we've had a few rainy days in a row with no sunshine. So it's kind of starting to drag us down a little bit. And people are feeling tired and cranky. And, we just need some sunshine, right?
For sure.
Um, so you have to, when the weather is out of our control, the sunshine is out of our control, we have some tools you can use to renew your energy a little bit without it. And, meditation is one. I listen to some really cool mind entrainment meditations, and they help get you going or, pep you up a little bit and really feel good again. So, and, you can take some vitamin D, that helps. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's so many things you can do to help pep yourself back up when you have some dreary days in a row or just not feeling, your energy's not feeling so good. Chakra clearing is good for that too. Um, yeah, we'll talk about some of those things. And Carissa has a piece out of our favorite book. Of course, Ask It.
Ask it and it's given.
Right.
Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Esther and Jerry Hicks, which you cannot see.
There you
There
go.
we go.
There it is.
My background is like, it's a blue book. You can't see the blue books.
Right. That's why I had to change my background. I had the one she has on and I disappeared because I have a
Yeah.
blue shirt on. But anyway, really good book, and of course Abraham has some cool stuff to talk about with energy, and I think there's a couple tools in this little chapter that she's going to read too. So,
Yeah. And this is really cool. And then we'll talk about some of the things that we do that you can do also, because this first piece is kind of about thought. And so it goes with meditation, because meditation helps you to bring your mind back into a peaceful state, your body into a peaceful state, and get everything aligned in that peaceful state. So, of course, meditation is one of the things I will always tell people to do because it helps a ton. Even if you can't focus, if you can focus for a few seconds, that
right.
does make a difference
Hmm.
in your energy and the energy that you're putting out and the energy within. So
Yeah.
consider that. But this first piece is going to be kind of about thought. And if you do have the book, which I hope you do by now, I'm in chapter 18, which for me is page 91. And the title is You Can Gradually Change Your Vibrational Frequency. And we do talk a lot about changing vibrational frequency, which means changing your energy. And that's what we're all about right now, is renewing our energy for the coming summer so that we can do all the fun things that we want to do and enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you're in a different part of the world where it isn't summer, whatever season you're changing into, you can always shift your energy to make that season the best season for yourself.
Right. And it's always a good thing to do some extra work, energy work and work on your vibration at the change of seasons because we're usually leveling up at those times. So it's always a good, yeah, I mean, it's always a good time to do that, but especially at the change of seasons. So it's
It just
always,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah, it does.
When you're doing spring cleaning, dust yourself off a little bit too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit here and then we'll talk more and give you some tools today because that'll be the fun part.
yeah.
Just because you make the decision to find a different thought, it does not necessarily mean that you can go directly to that thought right now. For the law of attraction has something to say about the thoughts you have access to from where you are. Of course, there is no thought that you cannot eventually have, just as there is no place that you cannot eventually reach from where you are. But you cannot instantly jump to a thought that has a vibrational frequency very different from the thoughts that you are usually thinking. And I think this is such a good point in that a lot of us, we want to go, well, stop having these thoughts. I want to have all of the positive, loving, fun thoughts. And
Mhm.
then we expect ourselves to immediately be able to jump to joy from depression. And that's not sustainable. It's more like a step-by-step process, like the emotional scale that we teach people to do so that you can move up into a sustainable, happy place.
Yeah,
And so that's kind of what they're talking about here.
yeah.
Sometimes one of your friends who is currently in a much better feeling place than you are may encourage you to stop thinking so negatively and choose more positive thoughts. But just because your friend is there in that better feeling place does not mean that your friend can bring you there. For the law of attraction will not allow you to find a vibrational frequency that is far from the frequency that you usually sustain. And even though you do want to feel better, you may not feel that you can find the joyful thought that your friend wants you to find. What we want you to understand, you can eventually find that thought, and that once you have deliberately and gradually changed your vibrational frequency, you will be able to sustain that more positive position once you do achieve it. Like we
Mm.
just talked about moving up the scale in like a gradual way.
Yeah.
As you discover that you can always know the vibrational content of your being and can therefore always be aware of what your point of attraction is, you will then be in conscious, creative control of your own experience. And once you understand that your emotions are giving you specific feedback about your vibrational content, then you can proceed with a deliberate and gradual adjustment of your vibration. And we talk about this every week. So if you are new to our podcast, watch a few of our podcasts and you will completely understand what they're talking about here, in that your emotions are your guideposts and they tell you where you're at vibrationally.
Yeah.
And so if you're not feeling very well, your vibration is not in the space of the receiving mode of where you want to be of all of the wonderful things that you're moving toward and that you've asked for in your life. And so your emotions just tell you where you're at and they can help you to decide, okay, am I in a good feeling place or do I need to pivot and
Hmm.
start moving up the emotional scale and feeling better?
Yeah. Yeah. And every week we talk about, paying attention to your body, and your body's going to tell you where you're at, what you're feeling, what's going on in your energy. So always pay attention to your body when you're asking, what am I feeling right now? Where am I at? Where's my energy at right now? Pay attention to how your body feels. Does it feel light or does it feel heavy? Does it feel closed off or does it feel excited and joyful? So,
Right. And what I really like that they point out here in this first little part is that even though you may not be able to jump from that more depressive thought to that joyful thought,
Hmm.
You can reach that joyful thought and sustain it
Yeah.
if you're willing to do just a little bit of work to move yourself up to it rather than trying to jump.
Right.
Because trying to jump, sometimes you miss.
Yeah.
And it's just that you don't stay there. But if you move yourself up to it,
Yeah.
that is a sustainable vibration. But if you try to jump, it's not sustainable and you start moving yourself back down. And that's what they're talking about is you can get there and you can stay there, but it's about allowing yourself to rise to that vibration rather than trying to leap and then fall back down. That's where we get the big up and downs, right? Rather than a sustainable, even keel vibration.
Yeah. And maybe one time soon, I think we did it, but it's been quite a while ago that we did cruise up that scale and show people what it feels like and how to do each step. So maybe we
I
need to
think that'd be good.
visit that sometime soon.
Yeah.
That would be
I
good.
think that would be great because we have not done one of those in a while. And
Yeah.
show people how to go up the emotional scale, I think would be super beneficial, especially now since we're moving towards summer.
Right.
Everybody wants to feel good so they can do all the things, at
Yep.
least in, the northern hemisphere where we're at. So
Right. Yeah.
I think that's great. Great idea, Tracy. See, we're having
All right. That.
positive, amazing creative thoughts just even doing our
Yes.
podcasts.
Yes.
Okay. So any thoughts on that, Tracy, before I move to this little next section? It's not too long.
I don't think so. I think that that's what came to me was we should do that scale again sometime soon.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. All right. So this next section is titled Reach for the Best Feeling Thought You Have Access to.
Mm.
Choosing a different thought will always produce a different emotional response. So you could say, I will deliberately choose my thoughts so that I can feel better. That would be a good decision for you to make.
Mhm.
An even better decision, and really an easier one to make, is I want to feel good. So I will try to feel good by choosing a thought that does feel good. If it is your decision to, quote, follow your bliss, and you have been focusing on a life situation that is nowhere near bliss, your decision to follow your bliss will be unsuccessful because the law of attraction cannot deliver a thought that holds such a dramatic vibrational difference.
Mhm.
But if your decision is to reach for the best feeling thought that you have access to, that decision can be easily achieved.
Yeah, so true. We have to realize and know that it's our choice. Where we want to be is our choice. We can always choose a better thought. So don't think that you're stuck there in a lower vibration just because that's where you are right now. We can always choose to have a different thought and have a different vibration. So um and it's as simple as that, just to choose the better feeling. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we have been at a low spot for a while and we forget, oh, I don't have to stay here. It's in my power to change that. So we can choose to feel better and to grab onto a happier thought, or do some energy work or something to get us out of that. Do some freedom release method. That's the easiest and best way that I know. Or
Mhm.
tapping, tap it out. And there's just so many different ways to get yourself out of that lower vibration. So don't ever
Right.
think you have to stay there.
Right. And I think, Tracy, where a lot of people fall down is the trying to leap.
Yeah,
Even if they're trying to choose a better thought, a lot of times they try to leap to the opposite of
right.
what they're thinking, which is too far up on the scale. They
Yeah.
need to go like the next step. Like if you're feeling that feeling, I'm a failure,
Mm-hmm.
saying to yourself, I'm successful is too far,
Right.
right? But if you go from I'm a failure to, well, I'm good at
Yeah.
drawing,
Yeah.
right? That's a little bit higher on the scale. You chose something that's positive and feels good,
Right.
but it's not all the way up to the joy
Yeah.
success piece.
Yeah.
But you can work your way up to that and feel good about it. But
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, even with their thought choosing, like choosing a better thought, they try to choose the opposite of what they just thought, and it's too far.
Yeah.
It's too far up the scale. So just choose something that's a
Yeah.
little bit better
Yeah.
and move yourself up slowly. And I think that's where people fall down. And so I think when we kind of go through how to move up the emotional scale, that will make a lot of sense to people too, of how to choose a better thought, maybe not the best thought until you get
Right.
up to that best thought.
Yeah. It can be baby steps, and it really should be baby steps
Should be.
so that you
Yeah.
can make that feeling last a lot longer
Right.
if you don't just jump up. Right.
And I
Yeah.
feel like if people try to jump, they don't even have that good feeling when they think that thought because they're so far from it.
Yeah.
They're not really even close to that vibration, so they don't really feel that statement yet.
Mhm.
And so I think that's also part of it too. So the gradual steps I find to be much more effective in
Yeah.
all the ways. And so I really like how they put this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll move on. The key to moving up the vibrational emotional scale is to be consciously aware of, even sensitive to, the way you feel. For if you are not aware of how you feel, you cannot understand which way you are moving on the scale. You could be turned around and on your way back to Phoenix and not know it. Kind of like your emotional GPS is what they're talking about.
Right. I like that story she tells about the,
It's such a good story.
yeah.
But if you take the time to consciously determine the emotion that you are currently experiencing, then any improvement in your feeling means that you are making progress towards your goal,
Hmm.
while any intensifying of the negative emotion means that you are going in the wrong direction. So your emotional GPS telling you where you're at vibrationally, right?
Yeah.
So a good way to feel your way up this vibrational emotional scale is to always be reaching for the feeling of relief that comes when you release a more resistant thought and replace it with a more allowing thought. The stream of well being is always flowing through you, and the more you allow it, the better you feel. The
Hmm.
more you resist it, the worse you feel.
I love that. And it's that resistance that keeps us where we're at or in that lower vibration. When we let go of that resistance to feeling good, it's going to come so much easier. And and a lot of times that's feeling guilty or feeling unworthy of feeling good. And uh, when we realize that everyone can feel good whenever they choose to, it's not, you don't have to be worthy of feeling good. You're always worthy of feeling good. And when
Yes.
we realize that and have faith in that, then it can come so much easier. And you can
Yeah,
keep that vibration a lot longer, sustain it a lot longer.
right.
Yeah.
And, knowing that it's okay to allow yourself to feel good, no matter what your situation
Right.
is around you. I think a lot of people think, all of these tough things are happening in somebody else's life around me. I don't think it's okay for me to be happy when they're not. Absolutely not. You always have permission to feel good. You always have permission to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You know, whether you have a lot or little, you have absolutely nothing or you're a billionaire. You have the ability to feel good, and it's your right
Yeah.
to be able to feel good no matter your circumstance. And sometimes you don't, and sometimes you do, but you always have permission
Yeah.
to feel good if you want to. And
Yeah.
so I think that's one thing that people need to know is give yourself permission to feel good. Tell yourself, it's okay for me to feel good. It's okay for me to feel happy. It's safe for me to do so, no matter my circumstance. And I don't have to worry about other people. I just need to worry about myself because that's what I have control over.
Right. And no matter what's going on around you, if things in your environment aren't happy or other people in your environment aren't happy, if you decide that you're going to be happy no matter what, it helps lift other people up too. So they'll see that, hey, she's happy even if her life is a mess or whatever, even if things aren't perfect because they never are, even though they appear to be on social media for a lot of people, we can know that it's okay for us to be happy and to do what we want to do or whatever. But you are helping people level up themselves by you being happy. So be okay with that and know that you have permission. You're worthy of being happy whenever you choose to. So um, and that really does lift people around you. And you'll notice it in your work environment or at home or wherever. If you try to stay at a happier level or a higher vibration, you'll notice that people around you will catch on to that and they'll start lifting up too. So by you staying down here or not, keeping your happiness bottled up, then you're showing others in your environment that they shouldn't be showing their happiness either. So, why would you want to, um, what's the word I'm thinking of? Why would you want to stifle that? You know,
Yeah,
let it go. You know, let your sun shine.
absolutely. Let your sun shine. Absolutely. I love that.
Right. That is a good one.
I know that should be a shirt, Tracy.
I
Work on that for your Earth shirts, would you?
better write that one down, huh?
I
Mm.
love it. We got to write down our ideas, guys.
Yeah.
We're all about the notes. All about the notes.
Yeah. I have so many notebooks.
So I kind of want to talk about a couple of things that people can do during the day to feel better with their energy. One of my favorites, so if you're feeling tired, one of my favorite things to do is to um, ask the earth to give you some of the earth energy and allowing any negative energy to flow back into the earth. So one of my favorite things to do is to stand up. If I can be outside, I will. If I can't be outside, it's okay. But I like to stand up and bend down and like gather the
Mm.
earth energy and bring it up my whole body and
Yeah.
just feel it filling me up, right? And that immediately helps me to feel more energized. And then I just imagine all of the other energy that's negative or hasn't been feeling good throughout the day just flowing through my feet into the earth. But I like to literally, with my hands, like I'm gathering it up my whole body, right? From my feet all the way to the top of my head. Just doing it right now, I feel better.
Yeah, I feel it
It's been,
just by you doing it, just by
right?
watching you do it. Yeah, it's
It's been a
good.
very long day for me. And I was like, I should have been doing this earlier today, you know? And it does. It feels really good, you know. Try it.
Yeah,
It feels amazing, and just see that. Just see the Earth's energy filling you up. I like to see it as green, brown, gold, whatever. But it's that grounding, but also energizing energy, filling you up
yeah,
and helping you with your day. That one's such a simple technique, and it's all about intention. That's really what energy work. The basis of it is your intention.
yeah,
And that's one of my favorites. And I do that when I remember to. Like
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
You
That's
know, it's all like all of us, we use the tools when we remember to use them.
right.
Um,
And the more
but
you
it is one I like.
Yeah, the more you do it, the more often you remember them too. So yeah, it's a that's why they call it a practice, right?
Right. And I haven't been outside much because it's been kind of dreary. And
Yeah,
so I do that one a lot when I'm outside. So I kind of forget about it when I'm inside. But
yeah,
I was like, I want to talk about that one for here because I think people would find it so useful
yeah.
to use, especially if you're having a rough day or you're really tired. Oh my gosh, it's such an uplift if
That
you're
is,
feeling tired.
yeah. I My favorite one, and you can only do it about 6 months out of the year at our place, but is to just have bare feet in the grass or on the ground and just to stand there and yeah, like you do, breathe in the earth and feel that energy coming up and you can picture it too coming up your legs and going up through your head and opening up, it feels so good to just suck that energy up from the earth. That's what Mother Earth loves to do, give us her energy. So yeah.
And that's what you're talking about, you know, is what people what we call grounding,
Yeah.
um, and allowing that energy exchange with the earth. And there's been a lot of even studies
Mhm.
on the benefits of that, of feet on the earth, hands on trees,
Yeah.
things like that. So, it's not as woo-woo as it once
Yeah.
was,
It's
as
not.
people like to say, as my dad likes to say,
Yeah.
you know, everything I do is woo-woo.
There is something about a tree hugger. It's for real.
It's for real. Have you ever hugged a tree?
Yeah.
If you haven't ever hugged a tree, like go somewhere where you won't feel embarrassed and actually hug a tree. You'll be amazed at how you feel.
It feels. And if you know anything about trees, they have those feelers all out in under the ground and everything's connected and just like energy, everything's connected and you'll feel that energy. You'll feel that tree hugging you back if you give it a chance.
Mhm. If you don't want to hug it, just even putting your hands or one hand on a
Yeah.
tree.
Yep.
That's such a beautiful grounding effect. You'll feel lighter.
Mhm.
Trees are wonderful.
Yeah,
Trees are wonderful living
it's a
beings.
really good stress zapper. It'll just suck that stress right out of your body. It's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of us feel better in nature, and a lot of cities have tree lines. They've figured out the benefits of green spaces and
Yeah,
trees and things. And so it's easy to come across a tree. So if there's not like, clean grass, as it were, where you are, you can
yeah,
find a tree,
yeah.
and that's always great. So,
Even plants too in your house. Having live plants is a huge benefit to the air in your home and to you. It's going to give off those negative ions and helps you relieve that stress and cleans the air and it's just good all around for you. So even if you don't have a green thumb, there's lots of easy plants to grow
mhm.
that that are really
Yes,
good for the air. Yeah.
succulents are great. And then there's a lot of house plants that you
Spider,
don't need to water very often.
yeah. Spider
Like
plant
snake plants.
can't
Yeah,
hurt.
spider plants, snake plants.
Yeah, they're hard to kill, so just try them.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that the first plant that I was able to grow successfully really was my aloe plant.
Oh yeah.
So I have a big aloe vera and it's the type that's edible, so they get huge. So
Yeah.
I've been growing that one now for, I don't know, probably 5 years, and it's just massive. And I love that thing. And so aloe plants are so easy to
Yeah.
grow. You water them once every 2 weeks. So basically, when you remember to
Yeah.
water a plant, and so because house plants, I've never been that successful with in the past. But after I kept that one alive for like 4 years, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And so
Yeah.
I have other house plants that have been alive for a long time. And so, that's something that you can figure out
Mhm.
over time. If
Yeah.
you want some tips, let me know.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to give you them from somebody who used to kill all of the house plants that they were ever given. Because I can grow anything outside. I'll have a garden. I can do that.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, having house plants, I just couldn't figure it out.
Uh,
But
you got it now.
I have figured it out.
It's good. That's awesome. Yeah. And they will help your energy and they are
Mhm.
renewing to the air in your home. So it's a really good idea to have plants.
Yes, I love having plants in the house. It really does make such a huge difference
Yeah.
in how the house feels and how you feel in it, and like you said, the air and
Yeah.
helping with that electronic fog and the
Uh,
the getting rid of the positive ions.
yeah. And
So good.
especially in winter, to have something live in the house when everything else is frozen, it feels good. It makes winter go a lot easier when you have live plants in your home, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I was thinking about um, one of my favorite things. A lot of people take on other people's energy without realizing it, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the day, through different experiences that they have. Think about this. So, is there somebody that you could think about that you interact with on a regular basis or even maybe every once in a while, but every time you interact with them, you just feel drained? Right? So we have those people that just feel like they drain all our energy. Well, they actually might be doing that or giving you their stuff, right? And you just don't feel good after you interact with that person. Well, what you're doing is you're either allowing your energy to be given to somebody else, or you're allowing someone to put their stuff into your energy. And so one of my favorite things to do is to create a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And doing a bubble every day around yourself is something that is monumental in changing how your energy is and how you feel throughout your day. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not that sensitive to energy. But when they try this, they go, wow, I feel so much better. I didn't realize that that could be a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of people are doing it without even noticing it. Sometimes they're so full up with other people's energy and stuff that they don't even realize it until they start to let go of it. And then they realize, oh my gosh, if I just, allow my energy to be my energy and other people's to be theirs, it just makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So the technique that both of us use is super similar.
Mhm.
I like to imagine a bubble forming all the way around my body in like a 360 degrees from top to bottom and enclosing me completely, kind of like from the Wizard of Oz, the Glinda the Good Witch when she comes in this big iridescent bubble. That's kind of what I imagine for myself. And I close it up and fill it up with white, loving, light energy. And
Yeah.
so when I do that, my intention is my energy and everybody else's energy is their energy. So I can experience what's going on around me, but I don't take anything on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I do it's similar. I usually do it in the morning when I step out of the shower, I step into my bubble. And it's just like like Mork, if you ever watched Mork and Mindy, that dates me, but um most people won't even know what that is. But
They're gonna look it up now and it'll be trending pretty soon.
yeah,
More commending.
yeah, it's a bubble like a spaceship, and you just close it so you aren't taking on other people's energy. And it's it if especially if you're an energy worker, you need to protect yourself from other people's energy because they're letting go of stuff when you're working on them, and you don't want to be taking that on. But just at work or in everyday life, people are giving their energy out without even realizing it. It's not something they're doing on purpose to make you feel bad or anything, but it's just something that happens when you are really empathic or something. You take on people's energy, and sometimes you don't know how to let go of that for yourself. And if you're tired or feel drained after being around somebody, that's what's going on. And it probably most likely isn't intentional for that to happen, but it does happen automatically sometimes. Um,
Right. Most people don't mean to do that to you or take your energy or things like that. It's one of those things that just sometimes it just happens, like you
yeah,
said.
yeah,
Most
and
people don't do it on purpose.
yeah. One thing that I used to happen to me that I didn't realize that's what was going on until I started learning more about energy was if I was around a lot of people, like at a convention or a meeting or something, I would get migraines afterwards, just really bad headaches, and I would just feel drained, and I'd have to go lay down for a couple hours and just to re zhuzh up my energy again, and I didn't realize that that's what was going on. I was just taking on everybody else's stuff around me. And I started to pat my head before I would go into a large crowd and kind of close down the crown chakra a little bit so it's not just pouring in. And that has helped me immensely. And I do it all the time now. And I never have that problem anymore because I'm protecting my energy now. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what used to happen to me too. Big places like malls,
Yeah.
um, concerts,
Mhm.
craft shows, any place where there's tons of people, I would get overwhelmed and feel super anxious and uncomfortable. And that anxiety feeling for me, and I didn't know this before, was me just taking everything on and feeling everything around me at once. And I'd get overwhelmed and I'd be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I wouldn't have panic attacks, but I would feel like I was gonna because that anxiety would be so high. And that's what it was, is all of the energy all at once and feeling all of the emotions all at once and everything going on around me. And so once I learned, the bubble technique, that changed the game for me completely. I can go anywhere, I can be anywhere, I can be around any people, and it doesn't make any difference. And that for me is just the best thing ever,
Yeah.
because one of my favorite things is being around people and doing huge expos where there's tons of energy and tons of
Yeah.
people and emotions and, things like that. And so I can be at those and feel joy and feel energized and not feel drained or get headaches or anything like that. And so for me, that was a game changer too. So if you're somebody that notices that you feel like that in places where there's lots of people, or maybe you work in a high-rise building and there's tons of people at work and you feel so drained after work every day, well, consider it. This could be part of the reason why.
Yeah, and it's amazing that something so simple can be such a huge game changer in your life if you just learn that one little technique or one little trick to do
Yeah,
for yourself. Yeah,
it's
so good.
crazy. And it seems so simple, and it is, which is great about it. But it makes such a huge difference. It really does. So give it a try. You'll love it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You
Any
will.
other little tips we can give?
Oh my goodness.
There's
Oh,
a-
one of my favorite also that goes along these lines. So if you feel like full up or overwhelmed or like lots been going on, one of my favorite things to do also is to say, this energy is not mine, let it pass through me into the earth.
Mm,
And just imagine all of the energy that you've taken on from other people throughout your day or whatever. This energy is not mine. Let it pass through me into the earth, and just watch all of that energy that's not yours drain from you and go into the earth. You'll be amazed at how much relief you'll feel.
it was really good. Yeah, yeah,
Energy is
um,
not mine. Let it pass through me into the earth.
yeah. And another one that you can do is kind of zip yourself up. That,
Mm-hmm.
by just zipping up, and that will change your whole demeanor a lot of times. It's just protecting yourself, just like putting a bubble around, zipping yourself up, and it's changing your energy, changing that momentum. If you were starting to go down, a heavy path or whatever, feeling drained or feeling like everything was sticking to you, everybody else's energy. Sometimes you can just zip up, and it's it whatever it takes for you to make that shift for yourself and pivot, like we always talk about, pivot out of that, do it. It's not weird. It really does work, and you'll find if you just try a couple different things, or pick one from today and try it, you'll notice a difference. You really will.
Right. Your imagination is what creates. Any
Yep.
thought is what creates. It's the energy that creates worlds flows through you and helps you to create those thoughts. And so just remember that when you are imagining something, you are consciously creating it. And so when you're doing these techniques, you're consciously creating these things for yourself. So just consider that, and that it's real. These are real things that you were doing with your mind. And that's what's so beautiful about our imagination is it's one of our tools that we have to help us in this lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Anything else? Any last words?
I feel excited for the changing of the seasons and the renewal of everything. It's just going to be a beautiful, beautiful summer for us up here
Yep.
in North America. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the sunshine to start shining again in the next couple days, and it'll be wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting. And renewing next week, we're going to be talking about renewing your dreams. So we'll have fun with that one too. Um, and then we'll start a new summer topic in June. I can't
It'll
believe.
be a surprise.
Yeah, I can't believe it's already the end of May almost. But
Wonderful.
yeah. So, Carissa, where can we find you? Anywhere.
Well, if you want to find me all sorts of places, Um, we are currently on YouTube at SoulSpace Podcast, nothing before or after. Um, my Facebook page is Light of Hope Healing. So you can find me on there pretty easily. I have a Square site where you can purchase things if you wish to, and that is light-of-hope-healing.square.site. Light of Hope Healing with a bunch of dashes in between, dot square.site. Super not simple. It's great though. It's kind of fun to say. I've gotten used to it. So if you want me to say it 5 times fast, I could because I just said it twice fast. But so you can find me there. And then on Facebook, you can find us collectively at our Soul Space as well. And Tracy, where's your super simple, easy way for people to find you that they will probably find you more easily?
Yep.
Yep.
I am at inspiredsignals.com. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Boom, a website.
Yeah.
Revelation.
Imagine that. Yeah. And, my links are all there, but you can go to Facebook and Instagram and find me at Inspired Signals too. So, or Inspired Signals Studio for my artsy, fartsy stuff. Yeah.
It's perfect. And Tracy's been making some really cool stuff lately. So I can't wait to see all that coming down the pipeline for you guys to see too. You have
I'm
to share some of it one day, Tracy.
excited. I will. Yeah. Yeah. When we're back in our office again.
Yeah, because right now we're not.
Yeah.
We're in space and you're in San Diego? I don't know.
I wish. No, I'm not. We're just on opposite sides of the state right now. I'm north, you're south. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll be back together next week, I think. So we will see you then. Oh, actually, maybe not. We might be separate next week.
Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next
We'll
week,
see.
though. We
Yeah, but
will
we'll
be
be here
present.
no matter what. Right. All right. Bye-bye for now. We'll catch you next week.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.